Hey, what's up YouTube? So I've got a brand new workout for you guys today. We're gonna be using the 50-pound sandbag, dragging behind the 50-pound weighted sled. So what are you gonna do right now? You're gonna subscribe, you're gonna heart this video, you're gonna share this challenge.
The secret is power exists in all people. The struggle is a seafood if you learn to let it teach you.
So these are one of the days where I don't have the highest energy. However, I'm gonna bring up my energy because your thoughts create the chemical release in your body, and I'm gonna get excited. So watch me just switch it from being all sluggish and tired to I'm feeling great. How you guys feeling today? You see that? So let's see if I can't keep that throughout the entire rest of this workout. So what are we gonna be doing today, everybody? We're gonna be doing some 20-pound sword swinging. We're gonna be doing some 50-pound sandbag exercises. We're gonna be doing some 100-pound sled pulling. We'll put the 50-pound sled on the ground. We'll set the 50-pound sandbag. Did you see the change in emotion? Emotion, energy in motion. Which brings me to something special. This YouTube channel is in memory, an infinite memory, an infinite potential of Bob Proctor, who supposedly RIP'd, you know, like 4 or 5 days ago, but he didn't RIP, he LIP. He's living in peace. Right now, his thoughts, ideas, and teachings are coursing through all of existence for all of eternity. And what does Bob Proctor teach about? He teaches about the law of attraction, how thoughts become things, how our energetic frequency, whether or not we are conscious of it, if we're thinking about bad stuff, if we're having negative emotions, well, we're going to be attracting more of that. If we're having positive emotions, feeling great no matter what, we're going to be attracting more of that. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start off today's workout with a beautiful jump rope. Oh, and for everybody who wants to know a little bit more about Bob Proctor and the skills towards manifesting your reality, go check out my previous YouTube video. After about 5 minutes or so throughout the entire workout with the 60-pound weighted vest, swinging the sword 300 times, dragging the 50-pound sled all at the same time, is Bob Proctor talking about law of attraction, manifesting your thoughts into reality. So, LIP, baby. LIP. Living in peace through all of eternity. Our thoughts and things and everything that we put out in the universe is there for infinity. So let's transcend our darkness. Let's bring into something beautiful, light, creation. Let's be there for ourselves spiritually, our families, our friends, our community, our state, our country, our world as a whole, as a collective. And let's get on with this workout. Like, subscribe, and share this channel for more philosophical truths and beauty, and for some insane workouts. Love it. Okay, we're gonna start this workout with 100 jump ropes.
Imagine if you woke up one morning and realized that you had dormant, superhuman abilities that were waiting to be unleashed. Imagine if you realized that you could actually change your blueprint of life, your DNA, to enable you to expand your creative potential, provide access to your subconscious mind, and become more intuitive, clairvoyant, and know instantly what your purpose is in life. Once you activated these abilities, you could manifest anything you desired in your life. Live a life without drama. Create your ideal physical body. Become immune to dis-ease and potentially reverse the aging process. You would alter the aging process and actually start to rejuvenate to look and feel younger. Your DNA is your blueprint of life and is what controls every single function inside each of your cells.
Okay, so it's been about a week of jump roping, and I've gotten it down now where I can do about 100 in a row as long as I start my workouts with my stretches. And I've been doing a lot of lymphatic system work. So your lymphatic system, it's the sewage system in your body, and it's responsible for getting rid of toxins. So you have lymph nodes. So I've been studying the body system, Chinese medicine. And for a while I was having these pains in my jaw, and I realized it was from this tension in my shoulders and my neck. So what I decided to do was get this cheap little massager for $4. That's all going to change here soon because I'm going to get a massage gun. And every single morning and every single night throughout the day, I massage my lymph nodes in my body and my muscles so that I make sure that there's no stagnation, and I get that tension out so that the muscles can repair themselves. So I believe massage is one of the most important things that we can do for our body, along with stretching, breathing, getting in the optimal levels of vitamin D all over the body. Today I'm wearing some shorts, I'm barefoot. I'm gonna be doing a lot more leg exercises this year with the sandbag. So once I start getting back out there into nature, I'm gonna be starting to rock out a Speedo. That way I can get the sun charging my body on the lower meridians of the root and the sacral chakra. Here's something to think about. So has anybody heard of free the nipple movement? Well, if you think about it, if women are constantly having to wear clothing over their chest, they're closing off their heart chakra to the sun, the healing rays of the sun, and then the wind, as it whips across the body, it stimulates the nervous system, which stimulates, you know, the body working in complete unity, you know, your tree of life. So something I'm really interested in is seeing, you know, people talk more about the philosophy of the Garden of Eden. I actually had some friends, I'm going to be getting back in this teaching, but they started what's called Anarch Eden. And Anarch Eden is the philosophy of self-ownership through restoring the earth and restoring the human vessel to the earth in the way that it was intended. Humanity becoming stewards of earth, and then the earth being able to actually nourish humanity, with humanity and the earth living in complete unionship with one another. And if we're not getting that sun on all aspects of our body, we're not getting complete unity with the light healing the vitamin D. You know, vitamin D is responsible for the regulating of all the hormones which regulate and heal the body. So if we're not getting, you know, the proper water is another one. You know, if our water isn't electrically charged by flowing over the rocks in a stream to get electrically charged, or if it's constantly being filtered of all of its minerals, you know, we're not really getting what we need, right? And so I want to kind of share something. I was vegan for about 3 years of my life, and I thought that I had made a huge mistake during the last 6 months of a 2-year stretch of being vegan. I started to get a receding gum line. Well, after doing some research, you know, I wasn't really sourcing the proper fruits and vegetables, whole grains and nuts. You know, they weren't organic. A lot of the stuff I was putting in my body was genetically modified because I couldn't afford the organic foods. So I wasn't getting the folic acid and all the other nutrients that come from the seeds and the natural DNA before these foods were modified, you know, to be able to last longer, stay on shelves longer, etc. So I started eating meat again. Well, the receding gum line started to heal a little bit, but it really came down to my exercise, my breathing, and my pranayama. But I have been really focusing on the last year, really being way more organic. You know, I have been eating meat, I've been eating fish, I've been eating turkey, I've been eating chicken, a little bit of pig, I've been eating lamb, a little bit of beef. Beef makes me feel heavy. I've only eaten beef one time in the last 2 months, and it was after I had some really unpleasant emotions come up, and something told me, go eat a hamburger and go to sleep. It's almost like my body knew that as soon as I ate the hamburger, I would get lethargic and would want to fall asleep. So it was almost like my mind telling me to go eat something that made me escape from reality. You know what I mean? Versus eating something more energetic, more balanced, maybe some fish or chicken with some organic vegetables in a salad, in a stimulating organic smoothie. So that's interesting, you know? We are what we eat. We are the DNA makeup of what we put into our body. So if we're putting in genetically modified organisms, plants, or food that was fed off genetically modified plants, what are we doing to ourselves, our self, our CELLPH, our self? What are we doing to ourselves? You know, we're living out of balance with nature, and what we need to do is revolve around the earth, you know, re-evolve, because I believe we've devolved, you know. We have all these electronics and all these things, and we've become hyper lazy, hyper lethargic, hyper sloth. You know, if you look into the philosophy of Christianity, you know, one of the 7 deadly sins is sloth, you know. Gluttony may be another one, I can't remember for certain, but a lot of religions had things right. It's kind of crazy, you know, the way we're living. We're not able to create the serotonin and dopamine levels in our guts if we're filling our bodies, our temples, our vessels, our engines with muck and gunk and funk, because it's all bunk. So we need to debunk ourselves, degunk ourselves, defunk ourselves, de-junk ourselves. We need a detox. We need to understand holistic massage, holistic diets, holistic movements, holistic breathing, functional full body workouts. We need to learn to listen to our bodies again. We need to come in to contact again with the circadian rhythm of the earth and the circadian rhythm of our vessels, so that we can live happy, healthy, and holistic lives. And that's going to come from changing our approach to capitalism. You know, I'm all for capitalism if it's holistic. I believe in holistic communal capitalism, you know, people coming together, bringing together their capital in a holistic way that's holistic for themselves, their friends, their family, the planet, their community, their county, their state, their country, the world as a collective. And it starts with self-love and self-care, and understanding that relationship and that balance between ourselves individually and then collectively with the planet, the elements. So talking on an elemental sense, we put things into our body that give us energy, that give us fuel, that give us life force energy, they give us chi, they give us prana. Plants, vegetables, animals. And animals get their sustenance from bugs, from ants, and it all comes down to the ground, the earth, getting nutrients from the sun, the plants getting nutrients from the sun, from the water, from the earth, from the air, from the oxygen. And it creates the spirit of what creates and manifests through a DNA organism, or organisms here on the planet. So if we're not living in alignment with those 4 elements, and we're not understanding those 4 elements, or we're changing, manipulating those 4 elements in a way that is not benefiting us, perhaps we should go back to the way that nature intended for us. And we should take in things that were natural and organic to the planet. It really makes sense, you know, we are what we eat, we are what we consume. Be thoughts, food, musical vibrations, politics, culture. something to chew on, something to digest, something to assimilate into your consciousness, into your being, into your mind, body, spirit, into your wholeness, something to digest and understand the cohesive and collective relationship that we have, whether or not we are conscious or not. And again, I want to give a shout out to living in the spirit and in all the fleshly humans on this planet, the teachings of Bob Proctor, right now in this present moment. Right now in this present moment. Okay, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna do a little bit of Qigong and then a little bit of pranayama, a little bit of breath and oxygen cultivation. We're gonna supercharge the immune system through oxygenating the blood. Wim Hof proved that anybody can do this through deep breath. He throws himself into the cold so that his body has to breathe deep in order to warm itself up, and in the process it skyrockets the immune system. It's really just getting the blood moving, more oxygen being assimilated into the vessel so that the vessel can uplift the DNA and uplift the healing process and uplift the process in which it eliminates the waste. So let's do it. Let's get into it, everybody.
If you change your DNA, you could really change your life. Life begins with an untouched mind, much like a blank canvas waiting to be colored. The colors are known as the human experience, which brings about the gradual development of the mental capabilities required to live a normal life. Intelligence, creativity, and memory are developed, but at the same time, an accumulation of programs and conditions take place.
So we're breathing in as we raise the hands upward, and then we're breathing out, and you can reverse that and feel what you feel inside. You can feel what's alchemizing, what's being created inside.
That shape an individual's personality, morality, and norms. Slowly, the noise and overload of information from external influences like culture, media, and family overpower the sense of bliss that is naturally occurring at birth. The notion of self begins to form, creating what is also known as ego. Ego interferes with the true individual expression, causing what can be compared to memory loss, a loss of the memory of the simple joy of living in the moment, being free and omnipotent. The way to regain the memory of an unlimited self is through the activation of specific glands and organs within the body. They are like information superstores.
So what we're doing is we're really bending, we're really activating all the joints. You know, I have some tightness, I have some tension in my calves, in my feet, and those little intricate bones and muscles in my feet that are getting built up. So my feet are really getting assimilated to the natural primal vessel of humankind, which was being barefoot. Once you start doing the research, you realize that children have perfect feet until they're put into a cast. It castrates them from a young age, and it's really sad because you have all these beautiful meridians and pressure points on the bottom of your soles of your feet, you know, that help assimilate and construct the soul that you are, your genetic makeup. And if you're having all these tensions and stuff that are corresponding to different meridians in the body, you're not going to be breathing into those meridians. So we need to understand the geometry of humankind lays in its primal state, its primal form, and reassimilating and reconnecting to that and having a love and a unionship and a unity and being in community with the earth is really going to help us assimilate the greatest form of our health, our heart space, etc. Because if our body can't be in an optimized state of flow, of blood flow, of movement, of flexibility, of strength, of breath, we're not going to be able to assimilate and create that alchemy of the breath in those places that allow us to be human, that allow us to transcend to the higher dimensions of health and human consciousness and human vitality and human community and unity and protection for ourselves, the planet. So we really must understand and assimilate these things. So just take your time. Just realize that baby steps, get it? Baby steps, the feet, the soul. It's going to take baby steps to reassimilate and to reconnect with that raw, primal love for nature that we all have naturally when we are in the womb of our mother, you know, because we come to have love and understand love when we are in the womb, because the womb is literally giving us life, giving us sustenance, giving us a way to be, a way to live this beautiful existence here on the planet. So I'm really at a loss for words. There's not much that I can say. It's been a intense life for me, and everybody goes through trauma, but you have to realize that putting your mind on the beautiful things will attract more of those beautiful things. And if you really focus on the higher evolution of yourself and you breathe it in and you assimilate it, you can recreate those biophotons in your body, those memories that are tied into your skeletal muscular nervous system that are attached to the brain and memory and processing in the subconscious unity of the wholeness of what we are. Let's get into it. We're gonna do a little bit of pranayama. Let's get down on the ground and let's feel this beautiful earth. I really need to find a golf course that got shut down and use this on the golf course. I love that flat ground to be able to pull my sleds. Just gonna spend a little bit of time really quick and rub some of the meridians and the joints of my body that are lacking blood flow, that are lacking prana, that are lacking oxygenated blood and nutrient delivery. I'm going to breathe so I can alchemize the blood to become oxygen rich during the process so that the body can do what it needs to do to repair and reconstruct this vessel that loves to be alive and vital, that loves to be one with the planet, the sun, the earth, the wind, the rain, the ocean, the elements. I'm really just gonna focus in on my body, and anywhere I have tight tension, I'm going to make sure that those hardened areas that aren't letting that blood flow and that cheetah flow are released so that the body can function and rebuild and repair and relive those memories of the ancestral DNA. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna sit with our spine erect, and we're just gonna kind of move our body in a motion. This is gonna help lubricate the spine, the tree of life, the column. This is similar to what Conor McGregor does when he's walking into the UFC rink. It's unfortunate that people know this knowledge, but they haven't fully ascended with their heart and their Salahara consciousness, because if you know this knowledge, it really only benefits you on the optimal level if you're connected with the creation, and everything in creation comes from the heart space and love. You know, when a child is created in the womb, it's really gonna survive. It's gonna thrive in a home where the father and the mother are there to care and nourish that child and to help that child become the strongest version of itself. so that it can go into the world and with the vibrational aura influence people consciously, subconsciously, and super consciously through the energetic Merkaba energy. Oh. Oh. And really just kind of move that blood and breath into the spine. We're going to be doing a little bit of a combination of Bhastrika and Pranayama. We're going to breathe through the nose deeply while we're doing this. Another thing highly recommend you get into is belly dancing, because it's moving that stomach and those intestines around in that spinal column and really keeping that chi, that life force energy able to flow all over the body. Because if we're working out and we're getting stiff, we're actually damaging the body long term. We're going to be prepping ourselves for injury if we're just getting strong over time and we're not unifying the body structurally, because that's when you start to have joint problems, when you're not building the muscles equally and you're not releasing that much muscle tension and strain. You're not able to heal the body. And over time, when you do that, your pain tolerance rises and you don't even realize the signals that your body is sending you to heal, because you've become so accustomed to the high pain threshold, whether it be emotionally or physically, etc. And sometimes we get stuck in those emotions. But it's time that we realize that we were met and created to experience bliss, happiness, peace, love, joy, communionship with all of these emotions, and community with our fellow humans and animal kind and the planet kind in itself, you know, all of the atoms that surround and create this planet. Oh. So take extra good care of your spine, dance, sing, vibration. You can chant. Oh. Vibration therapy, it's similar to, you know, taking in the vibrations of music. You have a nerve that runs down, and if you do that humming, it helps to vibrate and stimulate that vagus nerve and kind of activate it. So I was hitting a plateau. My recovery was really plateauing, and I really had to start assimilating these teachings and reconnect to the teachings that I assimilated into my life 3 years ago before, you know, a lot of people were traumatized from what happened at the beginning of 2020, and they lost touch with the higher consciousness of frequencies, and they were trapped in the fear frequency. And I was constantly attracting things, and I wasn't remembering the life-giving knowledge that I had seeked out before that. So this year we're really going to focus on getting reintegrated with the waterfalls, with the ocean waters, with the heart and the Salahara chakra and the full Kundalini awakening and the restorative practices. And we're going to combine them into the sword workouts, into the sandbag workouts. We're going to take some new classes. We're going to learn from some experts. We're going to teach YouTubers. We're going to go spread love and knowledge to the planet. We're going to focus on the joy vibrations so that we can be filled with those healing and uplifting vibrations this year. And we're gonna let go of the fears and the traumas of the past that have built up and assimilated in the brain, body, spinal column, you know, through the memory system of the subconscious, the automatic parts of our brains that react. And we're gonna release those, and we're gonna recreate the biophoton memory messages through the cherubim in our brain and our mind's third eye. And we're gonna cultivate the Christus in the sacred secretion up and down our spine and integrate it with the most holy of holies besides the sacred spine, the heart, the anahata heart chakra. And we're going to cultivate massive amounts of life force energy. Because if we're not understanding how to assimilate the chi within our body and our being, then we are just dying. And we're going to forget about what people think about us. People probably think I look a little bit crazy out here doing this, but little do they know, I feel 15 years younger just in the last 15 minutes. We're not gonna give light and energy to that. We're gonna smile, and we're gonna show how energetically charged we are. And we're gonna connect with the Salahara chakra, the heart chakra. We're gonna feel very grounded at our root. We're gonna ground our sacral chakra to the Salahara, the heart chakra, all the chakras. And we're gonna connect to the chakra above our heads that reach into the skies and the heavens and down into the earth and down into the solid core of planet Earth. Do some knee bounces, really get that shake those legs out. You know, if your legs are tight and there's tension, focus on that first, because you won't be able to assimilate the earth's healing power and prana through grounding if everything's not loose and those pathways aren't able to actually let that energy flow up. As above, so below, as within, so without, so without. I'm not sure about that one. I don't quite understand that one, but as within, so on the outside of you, the collective unity, everything is connected through energy. So understand the relationship you have with the things around you, and then you'll realize that everything that we reap, we sow, and whatever vibration that we're in when we're sowing, we later reap. And we may think that we're addicted to certain low vibrations, but they only continue to drain our energy and to keep us from blessings. So we gotta learn to be comfortable with the love, even though if we were wounded deeply as children and we're afraid of love. Anybody can heal, and there's many beings on the planet that have nothing to offer and to give but love and healing and knowledge of ascension. So let's align ourselves with what we want, and let's create the best version of ourselves. What is shadow work? Well, the sword is the symbol of shadow work. If anybody knows what anime that this sword is from, comment. This sword is from the anime Berserk. So Berserk, as a child, he was born from a rotting corpse of his mother, who was hung on a tree of people that were in war with one another, and an assassin's tribe came by, and the wife of the leader of the assassin's tribe saved Guts from his mother, who had been hung from the tree, and he was literally on the ground. So he was born out of a dying womb, and his whole life he was brought up and breeded to fight for other people's ambitions, other people's dreams, not his own dream. And he underwent so much trauma and pain and suffering and agony as a child. He clung to his sword as a sense of survival, and all he knew that made him feel safe was to kill, because he was constantly under threat of being killed going into battle. And so that was the story of Guts from Berserk. And as the anime goes on, it shows that, you know, he becomes more enlightened through time, and he starts to question what he's doing and why he's doing it. And he realizes that he's just living on autopilot, on a subconscious frequency of trauma and outright primal survival. You know, almost think of like a lion or something else, but never being it, but more enslaved than an animal like that, never being able to relax, always working for the band of the hawk. So what's beautiful is he's able to, I really haven't read the full series, but when you watch the second version, he's able to connect with a new group of people. And I'd really like to see someone rewrite the Berserk Gut story and show him when he's living happy. And maybe I'm wrong, I've seen lots of photos of Berserk and Casca actually having a child, and maybe I just haven't seen that part. But someone needs to create that anime where he's a grandfather and his sword's hanging on the wall, and he's telling a very powerful lesson of how he lived most of his life, you know, not really truly for himself, but just out of survival, and pretty much as a result of pure chaos and agony and trauma that happened to him as a child. Anyway, it gets pretty deep. So this is a symbol of transcending the shadow and working on our shadow. So I've been dropping little hints here and there on the channel about what shadow work is. And shadow work is understanding that darker side of yourself and the trauma that you had, you know, growing up. Everybody has acquired some type of trauma, maybe not everybody, and a lot of people subconsciously are living their lives on autopilot or reacting in certain ways that are just attuned to them on the way that they've been tuned and the frequency that they're in from the life that they've been in. And so shadow work, this is a deep, heavy subject, is seeing that darkness, understanding it, understanding that darkness, seeing all the times where it actually, that energy that we were holding on to because we were still living in that trauma or that darkness or that shadow, was recreating and manifesting new situations and new experiences in life. And if we don't learn to understand and integrate the shadow in a way that's productive to ourselves and humanity, like once you see the shadow, you can help other people see their shadow, and you can help other people see their light. And that's the concept of shadow work, is shining light on the shadow and forgiving the shadow and transcending the shadow and assimilating the shadow and allowing the shadow to transmute you into light by understanding it, and understanding that your shadow may have started from your ancestors, and it could have been trauma, or it could have started from maybe the culture of the community that you were in, or your story. You know, everybody has little different shadows, maybe a shadow from high school or a shadow from an abusive parent, you know, or living and coming up as an orphan, or being taken from your parents at a young age by the government or whatever, you know. And so we have to learn to transcend our shadow, because if we're not aware, we're never going to really be able to connect with the ultimate vitality. Because if that shadow is still ruling over us and keeping our energy down, it's not going to allow us to be full of light, love, and the most powerful things that, you know, humanity, the most beautiful thing about humanity is we're able to reason, we're able to be philosophical, we're able to align that with our heart space, you know, with the greater good, you know, connect to the all-knowing mind, which could be corresponded to the Salahara chakra, being connected with divine intelligence. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna load up the sled with 100 pounds. I'm just gonna walk down there and I'm gonna walk back, and we're gonna do some sandbags, and then we're gonna do some sword, and then I'll come back. If I think of anything, I'll talk a little bit more, but we're just gonna listen to some beautiful philosophical music, or maybe some music, whatever I decide to play a little bit later. Again, if you really enjoy this, please like this video, share it to a couple groups, share it to a couple people in the messenger, you know, help get this video out there, help it to circulate, you know, because there's so many people that have a shadow to work through, and there's a lot of people that are living in power that have a shadow, and they're creating a lot more shadows here for all of us. So let's understand and become aware and take power over our own life force energy. Let's get it.
That absorb all life experiences. By changing the information caused by traumas to information about infinite possibilities, a person's life experience is changed from one of fear and limitation to ultimate freedom and potential. The change happens through DNA reprogramming, a way of consciously overriding the noise of ego with the light language of the soul. Installing its messages directly into the body, it gives the individual the opportunity to hold and feel the energy of his or her true expression, and not the distorted, polarized ego version. There is now a process which will assist you to do all these things and more, and it is called DNA activation. Most people know that DNA is the blueprint of life and is located in every cell of the body. In addition to each chromosome's 2-strand double helix of DNA, there are an additional 22 etheric strands of DNA available to each human, which have been dormant since the beginning of recorded history. Each additional strand possesses attributes that permit the individual to perform greater human accomplishments. Scientists acknowledge that we currently use only 3% of our current 2-strand DNA. Thus, we live in a society where people are often sick, unhappy, stressed out, and are totally disconnected with the universe. Most people have to meditate for many years just to have a so-called mystical experience. That's how disconnected we are now. Imagine activating 100% of your 2-strand DNA plus 22 additional strands. You would go from using 10% of your brain to becoming a multi-dimensional being with psychic, telepathic, and manifestation abilities beyond anything you've ever dreamed of. Think of yourself right now as a person with 2 strands of DNA, with only 1 strand active.
Really activating the glutes. Oh man, the legs, the calves. It's a great workout. So that workout right there is really going to help me activate and stimulate the muscle growth that's necessary, so that at the end of the year I can successfully swing that sword 1,000 times with the 60-pound weighted vest, pulling the 100-pound sled. I haven't decided quite yet, but 10 pounds on each ankle or 20 pounds with a 2.5-pound wrist weight. So I'm only doing the weighted vest, and I'm still waiting to get another set of ankle weights, as the other ankle weights ripped and broke right after I got them, which shows, you know, for some people, profit's more important than the planet. If they could literally sell something that knowingly they know is garbage and it's gonna rip. And it's really sad. I mean, the material wasn't even good enough to replace. Not complaining, just pointing that out, because let's buy things that last. Let's buy things that work, you know. Our ancestors knew about that. You know, things used to be built tough. You know, things used to be built to last. And that's good for ourselves and for the planet. So let's be conscious with, you know, our food choices and the material possessions that we buy. You know, let's make sure that they're quality and durable and they last, because that'll help the planet as well.
You are as a standalone computer with access to only about 16 megabytes of RAM. This means you can only run a few programs, none concurrently, and you're not even connected to the internet. Once you activate your DNA, it's like you get a DSL connection to the mind of everything and can access anything you want just by using your intent and intuition. The portions of the DNA chain that science has presently identified as the double helix represent only the surface portions of the chemical, elemental, and electrical components of the active DNA strands. Science has yet to identify the multidimensional spectra of DNA manifestation, and has yet to realize that within the structures of detectable DNA, there are levels of structure and function that direct the operations of the entire genetic blueprint, which are not currently detectable by the contemporary scientific method. DNA activation works on a deep cellular level, directly changing each cell's memory. The reprogramming happens through the nervous center, specifically the medulla oblongata, which sends messages to the rest of the body. Updating the DNA with new beliefs and memories enables an amazing transformation from within the body throughout the entire system of a human being. The human DNA imprint will always appear from external analysis as a two-strand double helix configuration. But what is not understood is that within the double helix there are, and will be progressively more, additional double helix strands which fuse together and add their operational coding into the active DNA imprint. As science evolves into comprehension of the multidimensional spectrum, the understanding of the tree structure and function of DNA will progressively advance. We are reordering and reactivating portions of the junk DNA and stimulating these portions of the DNA into activation. The medulla oblongata, center of transformation. Physical location, lower brainstem. Native energy, neuroelectrical. Native aspects, DNA activation, addictions, and programming. Color, indigo. Purpose, to ensure that messages from the pineal gland are communicated and integrated within the human body.
So I tried my best to count those, just like before when I started doing the swords. Keeping that oxygen, that chi going. I almost fell over there. Stay hydrated. Energetic beings of water, fluids, sunshine, earth, air elements. Really gonna be focusing on, for the next month, really building those legs. I fell behind on my leg workouts when I went from going up to this new sword because I couldn't do the jump squats anymore. But I guarantee once I can work up to doing 100 of those in a row, I'm gonna start assimilating the jump squats back in with this 20-pound sword. I've really only been doing 5 of the main exercises that I first came up with the lighter swords, with the 5, and then the 7-pound swords before I jumped up to the 10-pound pipe, and then this sword at 17.5. I've just been adding on weight and doing the basic exercises. And here's the thing, could I continue to do mostly everything without the sword? Yes, but I wanted to become a little bit more dynamic. I wanted to have it harder and tougher, so I had to add on the weighted vest some days. I had to add on pulling the sandbag. And I want to start using this workout sandbag so that I can, it's just a tool that makes it easier. Now, will I create a sword that loads up much faster and much easier in the future that can load up to 150 pounds with ease? No, it's possible. Maybe I should do that, because I'll run through that exercise right here that I can do. I just really wanted to build my strength, and that's why my goal is going to be eventually 100 pounds on the sandbag going up. But primarily, I'm going to stick with just the sword training, the weighted training, the pulling behind the sandbag, and possibly some fillable kettlebells. The jump rope, I must say, is an excellent tool for really building that foundation of that geometric structure of your feet, so that from the ground up, as above, so below, you know, you're strong and you're full, and you got that muscular structure, and that everything is just working together perfectly to give you the vital life force energy with that strong, solid, all holding it together. So hopefully you guys understood that, guys and gals. I guess it's time to swing some swords. Let's get it in. I'm just gonna move these to the side, and then I'm gonna push myself. We're gonna go 50 and then 50 back. Let's do it. No, wait, I'll go 25 backwards, switch hands, other 25 backwards, and then forward 25 and 25. And we're gonna do the traditional battle strikes, which the battle strike is the exercise that's gonna be done for the Guinness World Record. So here we go.
Symptoms of dysfunction are teeth grinding, issues with the mouth, teeth, or gums, nervous breakdown, neurosis, psychosis, anxiety disorders. Just like the rest of the human body, the medulla communicates through very succinct messages. These messages are determined by the health of the medulla and are translated into specific life experiences. The Center for Reprogramming. This is one of the most exciting areas within the human body. No matter the blueprint a person chooses for him or herself, it will get downloaded into the brain and disseminated through the nervous system into the body. By simply changing the very material a human being is made of, an automatic and permanent upgrade takes place. It is the single most powerful tool for human transformation there is. When the medulla oblongata is healthy and active, a person's life experience will sound like this. I know that living out my true potential is not defined by right or wrong, good or bad, normal or strange. I live my life in harmony and balance, unaffected by the opinions of others. When the medulla oblongata is unhealthy or inactive, a person's life experience will sound like this. I feel caught in a situation or relationship because it is expected of me. I feel uneasy with the unconventional and easily get embarrassed when those around me act out of the norm, especially in public. I care about what others think to a point where I would change my path to conform, even if deep down I don't really want to. How to activate the medulla. First, locate the organ in the body. The medulla is the lower part of the brainstem, located where the spinal cord ends and the skull begins. Then feel into it. Find the largest concentration of energy and surrender to it. This energy concentration is basically the bliss instinct of the organ. Following it is like letting the sensation lead the way, and a slight tingling sensation may occur. This technique is the basic way of activating any organ or gland. Activating the medulla will heal drug addictions. Drugs with a mind-altering effect leave residue in the human brain and nervous system. Tuning into this center will blast any debris out of the system, allowing for an enhanced production of dopamine to happen. Forget any chemically induced simulations and go with the natural access to states of ecstasy instead. DNA activation removes the energetic blockages to you embodying your higher self, so consciousness expansion is one of the main benefits. You will be more aware of everything, especially what your purpose is and why you incarnated here at this point in time. You will start to become aware or see things that others cannot see, some of the hidden agendas going on, and how to make decisions to help you and your family in the best way possible. Your dormant brain functions will start to become active.
So, again, my forward strides are about double my backward strides. So I'm gonna walk back. I'm gonna do 25 more forward on the opposite hand.
Especially your pineal gland. This will help to start tapping into your higher senses, and you will be able to use these on a daily basis with practice. Some of the physical benefits reported by clients include thicker hair growth, weight loss, and stabilization of desired weight, increased energy, and rejuvenation of various muscles. You will start to see how your body is just a thought form as well, and you can change your body more easily with focus, so you won't have to work out as much. Emotionally, you will go beyond your personal dramas, the aggravation of everyday life. Your body will undergo a detoxification, which will bring old emotional issues to the surface to be released forever, to no longer cause dis-ease and poison the body. You may notice that your dreams are more vivid, and that you may release old fears and phobias. You will also experience a renewed sense of confidence and security, and will project that to others, which will allow you to have more fulfilling relationships.
All right, we did 100 strikes. Let's get some fluids, nourishing that body, that temple, that wholesome vessel. If our thoughts change our internal chemistry and could create disease or life, then where should we have our thoughts? Well, science. Remember, you got to be careful with the science, because science can be bought out, but the internal science of validating things comes from meditation. So once you start to realize that joy, bliss, excitement, happiness uplift your energetic levels, make ATP work more efficiently, more accessibly, then right there we know that we can be our own alchemists, and we can create our own thoughts to give us life centered through love. So let's do it. Can't remember the scientist, but he looked under a microscope and was looking at the geometric structure of water on different emotions or different types of music. So they were also able to do that with blood, little droplets of blood. So our body is made out of quite a bit of liquids. So let's take care of our minds, our thoughts, our bodies, our temples, and let's be collectively enlightened on how we treat ourselves, the planet, and the balance of everything that works together cohesively and collectively. Let's do it.
Increased trust and discernment, and the attraction of soulmates. You may feel sensations, see images or colors, or feel absolutely nothing. Usually, most people notice something different about themselves within a very short time frame. It really depends on how sensitive you are to energy. Some people feel the session very strongly, such as heat or twitching, as it is happening. Others may feel sleepy. You may notice tingles or some other sensations in the head area, your crown chakra. In some cases, people experience a spontaneous physical or emotional healing at the time of the activation. After that, there will be numerous changes in the next few days, weeks, and months. Most people experience an increase in energy and go through a cleansing or a detox process. DNA activation is an eternal process, and you will notice changes throughout your lifetime. The DNA activation is a huge acceleration step on your personal path of enlightenment, empowerment, and personal health. Many experience a greater depth and richness to their emotions. Some speak of heightened creativity, or say that ideas and concepts that were once obscure become clear. Most speak of expanded awareness, greater peace, and understanding of the person they already are. along with increased physical energy and improved personal health. Spontaneous healings can occur at the time of activations. These usually have to do with acute physical and emotional disorders. There is a purification process that begins to detoxify the physical, emotional, and mental bodies. There have been many clients who have cured themselves of chronic or serious diseases after having DNA activation.
Really focusing on that glute activation, the activation of the muscles in my foot gripping and pulling against the solid ground, really building up and creating that strong foundation in the sole of the feet. 10 more of the sandbags. Woo. Actually, I think we forgot jump rope. Time for 100 jump ropes.
If you are looking for greater clarity in life and improved health, DNA activation may be the jumpstart you need to achieve this. As with any health practitioner, it is always best to find someone with experience with whom you feel comfortable. If possible, meet with the practitioner prior to making an appointment to get a feel for who they are as a concerned and caring healer. You can even ask where they received their training. If you feel uncomfortable in their presence, do not commit to an appointment. Keep looking, ask friends, or ask other energy healers for referrals. The new earth is here and now. Don't forget to like this video and share it with others. Watch our previous videos for an expanded awareness. And if you are new to DNA Awakening, subscribe and hit the bell button to get notified with the latest news on our channel. Thanks for watching.
Wow. Okay. So think about this. The true currency of life is life force energy, is energy in motion, emotion. How about that? Said the true currency on planet Earth is emotion, energy in motion, energy, life force, chi, pranayama, or chi, prana, right? Think about it. Internalize it through the heart. How can we create the most prana and energy in our bodies and vessels? Because as we start to age, we lose energy, then we lose our ability to create and manifest, and we are tired. We're more tired. We can't move as much. So therefore, I think the greatest currency on the planet is energy in motion. So let's make sure we alchemize that energy and let that life force energy alchemize us into the perfect geometric heart space, aligning and empowering and building the geometry of our body, mind, souls, and the planet as a collective. Beautiful, beautiful. Let's get it.
Prevailing system in the world for gender relationships and for defining male and female is patriarchy. And on the pages of scripture, it's almost on every page, because the Bible's message comes from within the patriarchal culture. But patriarchy is a fallen system. It's based on the rule of men over women, over children, over property, and also over other men. The original vision that God has was for men and women to rule creation on his behalf. So it's a contradiction of that original vision. So patriarchy is taking the focus away from God as the center and making man the center. Like it's a man's world, and the important thing is for men to rule. And it gets really, it comes in benign forms, very benevolent forms, but it also comes in violent forms and destructive and appalling and the worst things that we see happening in the world. And what patriarchy is ultimately is a continuum. So that when we try to find a kinder, gentler place on the continuum, we're still on that continuum. And I believe that the gospel takes us off that continuum. Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." And so we should be looking for something that is very different from what we see when we look horizontally at what goes on in the world. Jesus battles the maelstrom because he is the perfect image bearer. And in his own story, he violates, patriarchal patterns for, when he's a 12-year-old boy. He never marries, he never has children. In the patriarchal world, that is a man's responsibility to get married and begin producing sons for the next generation. So he's always clashing with the culture. He's open in his relationships with women. He speaks to them in public. He teaches them deep theology. He relies on their support. His providers are female. And, it's just, if you look closely and you think in terms of patriarchy, Jesus is going against every earthly system. He didn't come to endorse earthly fallen systems. He came as the king of a kingdom that is not of this world.
Pretty sure that was 10. Gonna take a little rest. Gonna walk, drink some vital fluids. It's a vitamin mix. And focus on eating the most nutrient dense food, staying hydrated, proper rest and recovery, proper thoughts, proper stretching, proper breath.
Let me give you a little known fact today that will increase your effectiveness in anything you do. It applies to doing a job, making more money, playing golf, cooking, raising children, teaching, anything at all. Now, while this has long been known by the most successful people of the world, it seems to have escaped the great majority. Whatever it is that you would like to do better, act as though you're a top-flight expert at it. And if you continue to play this part long enough, you will become an expert.
I want to come back and talk about the shadow and some of the shadow work that I've been working on. Grab the Guts Berserk sword for the talk. What I think is beautiful, because I've seen quite a few pictures of Guts having a child with Casca, is that finally he was able to move past the demons that were branded onto him physically through his energetic energy body. He was branded with demons until he learned to erase the branding or learn to assimilate the branding into a higher level of consciousness. So I get stressed out when kids are around, and I realize that comes from the wounded childhood that I had. I'm not going to talk about it really all that much. If anybody wants to know, they can drop a comment, or this video can get 100 likes, and maybe I'll open up deeper about that. But anyway, children are full of vibrant energy and life, so being uncomfortable around that is a testament of our own lower consciousness. Society in itself pumps children into these school systems, which essentially, they're so energetic and so creative. They're meant to sit in a chair, and they're literally bending at the root chakra, so they're not getting that energy. I remember when I was a kid, I used to tap my foot so hard and so long, and I was known as an ADHD kid. Disruptive really what I was doing, and I was moving that stagnant energy that was getting cut off at my root chakra by sitting in an L-shaped thing, which is horrible for the back and the spine. We all know that if you spend lots of time sitting, it's totally bad for your posture and then for your breathing and everything else. But yet we send our kids to school to sit in chairs and pretty much destroy their flow of prana, life force, energy, kundalini. So that's something to think about. It'd be really cool to see, every 30 minutes stretching, chi practices, pranayama in the school systems. And it's up to us. If we're going to be putting our blood, sweat, tears, energy, and motion into the tax system, shouldn't it be building us up and building the planet up? And shouldn't we be moving the planet back into symbiosis? Shouldn't we be re-evolving with health, wellness for ourselves and the collective of the planet, the animals, and everybody that's in it? I think so. Anyway, that's just a little bit of shadow work, so I got some things to think about. Yeah, children are so abundant of energy, they're so creative, and it gets zapped out of us. It gets zapped out because society is it's interesting culture we live in. We like so much stuff that comes from the earth, and we've lost our connection with the earth. We've lost our own connection with what being healthy is, so we've forgotten that our existence and our well-being stems from the health of the earth. So I think we got to be thinking about this stuff, and if we weren't so enslaved by these material possessions and we grew our own food and we had smaller houses in nature, I think we'd be a lot healthier, we'd be a lot happier, we'd definitely have a lot more time to dance and be more like children. All right, so we're gonna do 50 uppercut strikes going backwards. Actually, I haven't done this one yet. 25 on each side and then 25 forward. Let's get it.
When you think about healing, for most of people, what do you have in your mind immediately? Well, for most of people, of course, go get the pills in the medicine cabinet in your house and somewhere. If you have a little headaches and aches and pains in the body, right? Otherwise, you go see your doctor, and then so get the prescription, and then so go to the pharmacy to get the medicine. So that's what most people think about. When you hear somebody says, well, you know what? Your body has the most powerful medicine for healing everything. And you might say, oh, come on, so how could that be? How can that happen? Well, you know what? That's not only I say so, all the masters, the Qigong masters, and the most powerful Chinese medicine masters in the history said the same thing. And they said the most powerful medicine, it is not from outside, not the pills, not the Chinese herbal soups you drink. It is from within. Qi is the most powerful medicine in our body, helping ourselves to heal, to balance. So, where's the location of this Qi? And how can we activate this Qi to help us to heal? So today, I will take this opportunity to guide you to do a Qi hunting. So I will help you to explore together what is Qi and why it is so powerful, this medicine. And how can we activate this medicine to help us to heal and heal completely.
I said, let me move out of the way. Let me clear myself off the field so they can play. I wasn't even paying attention. They're about to start practice. The guy's like, well, you're good. No one's going to mess with you with the sword. Well, I'm like, I'd like for you guys to play, so let me move to that side of the field. Okay, so now.
And then we're going to do some practices together. Now, see if you have a paper cut in your hand. Then the other day, you might have a cold and something. The body has the intelligence to know what kind of medicine or qi it needs to fix the paper cut, the wound from the paper cut in the hand, or fix the cold. These two things are completely different things, right? In Western medicine, you need to find different things. For a cold, you need to get pills to get inside the body for the paper cut, get a band-aid, right? Or some medicine cream, put on. But here in Qigong practice, you go inside to activate this qi, and this qi has the intelligence, has the wisdom to heal all these things. Now, how to activate this qi then? There's a few physical movements. Well, in Qigong practice, there's so many Qigong forms and movements out there people are teaching. But you know what? Only a few movements are most effective. Now, why these movements are most effective? First of all, you need to know a little bit about the qi button location in the body. Qi buttons, these qi buttons, they have that hidden power working as the transformers in the body, making the qi flow in the entire system, connecting to every part of the body. And do you know where the locations of qi buttons? There's quite a few, right? Doing some unique movements, you are able to activate these buttons to help you to heal. All the energy buttons, they locate in the joints.
Okay, so this badminton, backgammon game just started, so I think I'm gonna end the workout here. It's getting dark anyway. I gotta balance my work-life schedule. So if things worked out perfectly, I would have done another 100 strikes, and I would have done another set of the 10 50-pound sandbag burpee push-up and the 100-pound sandbag pulls. But anyway, that's good enough for today. We're gonna go get to work, and we're gonna let these kids enjoy their game and be able to focus 100% on their game, because that's fair. And again, like, subscribe, share this video. Come back next time. Go check out the other videos. Got some great stuff for you.
In the fingers, in your feet, and in your spine. So when you move your wrist like that, right? You know what? How many energy channels and energy buttons you open? Okay. See, let me show you. So there's an energy button right here, about 2 inches from the second line of your the bottom of the palm. Just put your hand, 2 fingers right over there. So at the end, with the edge of the middle finger, so right here in between the tendons of your hand, this is the energy button for your heart. People who have a irregular heartbeat or high blood pressure, hey, this is the button. You can massage deeply, and here, along the bottom of the hand, you have a lot of energy buttons for the heart, for the reproductive organs, for the lungs. And the Hagu point in the hand, right over here, this is good for stomach, digestive system, headaches. This is almost the point that's good for the pains. Most of the body, you can help to stop the pain, especially the pain in the neck, in the head, and the stomach, and the chest. It can also help too. So now, by moving your hands gently like this, breathing of the universe, holding your hands in the harmony of the universe, doing those movements, you are able to help to open up slowly and stimulate that intelligence of qi to help you. And the elbows, they have a lot of energy buttons connecting to the lungs. For instance, if you have a coughing in the lungs, you know what? Cup the inside part of the elbows, cup, like that. Do the left side first and go to the right. You are able to stimulate the energy buttons, the qi buttons, to go connect to the lungs, to clear energy blockages in the lungs, in the chest, in the breast, and in the heart. Shoulders. Under the shoulder, on the armpit, there is an energy point connecting directly to the heart. If the heart is not doing very well, the arteries kind of block, cupping the underarm, this area. And especially the left side. That will help you even more. And then, so again, the hips, the knees, the hips has a lot to do with the kidneys. How do I know my kidney, my bones is doing good? Well, look at the hip joints. If your hip joints are doing pretty well, that means your kidneys energy is pretty good. And how about your knees? Well, your knees, there's energy points, buttons connecting directly to your liver. If your knees are doing good, very strong, no pain, liver energy is very, very good. If you have injuries in your knees, and if you don't heal up your injuries soon enough, then you know what? Gradually, these blockages, you will block the qi flow into your liver. So then sooner or later, your liver is going to have some challenges. You see, all the joints. So those movements in 5 elements Qigong movement will help you to open up these energy channels.